Hey guys, this week I'm reading Project Hail Mary and then watching the movie directly after. I'm just now getting around to reading this. Super excited about it, and honestly, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about the movie. Personally, I can't wait. It should only take me about 2 days to get through this. Ideally, I will be watching the movie by the time I get home from house sitting. I can get this finished in that amount of time. No problem. I'm gonna start it tonight, maybe read 2-3 chapters of it, and I will just kind of check in periodically, tell you my thoughts and feelings. Alright, it is day 2. I got 2 chapters in last night. I haven't gotten any further than that. Been a little busy this morning. I am at the house I'm house sitting for, so I am going to sit outside for a little bit because I think there's a storm rolling in. And there's a screened-in porch, so I'm so excited. Yeah. Where's the girl? What are you doing? Is that the people? Alright, let's go read some more. Alexa, resume. I didn't think that this book would make me as existentially as it is. Hey, so one of my worst fears is the sun dying. I was in like 5th grade when I read a book on black holes, and I've been terrified of space ever since. And I don't know why I thought it was a good idea for me to read this book. Like, am I an idiot? I really like how this is set up. That is about it. I really like the writing. It's normal. I love a contemporary fiction. I love a science fiction is really what this is. I hate space. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. There's 2 things I'm terrified of. It's space and being cremated alive. I blame Bob's Burgers on the second one. I'm not gonna sleep good tonight. This might take me way longer than I thought it would. My brain's tired. Like, there's a reason I'm not a biology major anymore. Oh, like, this book is making me remember stuff. Like, I'm freaking tired and I just need a little brain break. Just to, like, not talk about physics anymore. But it's nice, because I can read this book and, like, know vaguely what the main character's talking about. It's just, like, tired. I'm gonna go walk back in. I wanna get at least halfway through before I make dinner tonight. I ideally wanted to finish this today so I could watch the movie tonight. That's just not happening. Science! I was not a space science girly. I was an earth science girly. Women in STEM. Let's finish this. I am 11 chapters in. It is 3:30 exactly on the dot. I'm loving this book so far. I'm having a great time. Like, I've laughed out loud several times. Like, I love Ryland. I think he's so silly. So he just met Rocky and the brothers. It's really cute and it's really sweet, and I've gotten significantly less existentially. Do you mind? I've gotten significantly less existentially now that there's, like, aliens. I'm gonna take another little brain break because I want the dogs to run a bit. We've been inside for the past hour, it's hot. They're itching to romp around a bit, and quite frankly, so much. Damn! Must be bad! So I've been reading for 5 hours. Almost 5 hours straight. I took a little, like, 15-minute break. Oh my god! It must be really bad then. They're getting everyone in on this. Plan. If I finish the book before 8, at the rate I'm going, I don't think I'll finish it, but I think I'll get close. Which means if I really lock in tomorrow, I will for sure be watching the movie tomorrow. Rosie! Good morning. Whoa. I look crazy. I look horrible. Ignore that. I'm exhausted. I have gotten about 5-ish more chapters in. I think I'm on 24. Very close to being done. My biggest complaint so far is, this is probably a stupid question, but this is genuinely the only thing I've been able to think about the whole time I've been reading this. If we are canon, it's canon that we're using things like Excel and like Word and Google Docs and stuff. It's canon that we're using that, right? And in space, my question is, why the fart can't you just put the stuff you're finding in like a Word or like in an Excel spreadsheet and just have someone on Earth log into it like once a week? Have someone log into the Excel to see if anything's in there. I don't know anything about space, but clearly, if you're just using your Microsoft account, shouldn't someone just be able to get into that? Like, why do we have to do the whole Beatles thing? Why do we have to do the whole, like, putting stuff on hard drives and shipping it back to Earth in 14 or whatever light years? Why can't you just do that? Because it's been stressing me out the whole time. Because I'm like, obviously, there has to be an easier way to do that. Why can't NASA or whatever just have an intern log into Dr. Grace's Microsoft account? Like, I don't get it. I'm sure that the Hail Mary has its own Microsoft account. I'm sure that someone is in charge of that. It makes no sense to me. What are we doing? Anyway, I'm almost done the book, and I'm ready to be done. I can't lie. It's not that I don't like the book. I'm loving this book. I think it's really good. It's that mentally, I'm using so much brain power to read this book. Like, it's not even the science part that's like, I'm having a hard time reading. It's the fact that I'm so tired, and I have been for like 3 days, and I've done nothing but read Romantasy for the past like month because it's summer and I usually will read books with a little more substance during like the school year. Reading a book with actual substance in July is not something I'm used to. Basically, what I'm saying is I've been reading junk for the past month. This is the first book since I got home in May that isn't just like some Romantasy slop. I think my brain's just tired. I will say it is making me miss being a STEM major, which is not something I'd ever thought I'd say. To be entirely honest, it's been a few hours since I got home. I had stuff to do. Quite frankly, I haven't been this excited to watch a movie since Spider-Man No Way Home. So with that being said, I will just keep you updated, but I'm gonna start it. I'm so stoked. That pissed me off. First movie tears from the Brave scene. I love the Beatles. I finished it. It's insane, A, to make a book that good. And then it's even crazier to B, make the movie equally as good. I tend to have this complaint a lot, where the movie itself is good. It is a fabulous movie. It's a fabulous sci-fi movie. I came out of that movie with the same feeling that I had after I watched Superman for the first time. Needless to say, it's a damn good movie. It's honestly impressive to make a movie that is that good and still have the book be better. I'm gonna sleep on it because I'm exhausted, and we'll do a full review tomorrow. Okay, I have been meaning to film this for like 2 days now. I wish I had the book to display right here, but I gave it to my dad to read. So I am fresh out of the book, and I am just simply going to have to rely on the notes that I took on my notes app. It is incredibly difficult to make a book so good that when they make the movie is fantastic, and the book is still better. I'm a sucker for detail. I'm a sucker for a backstory. I mean it when I say that I am not one of those people that is going to constantly say that the book is better than the movie. I think there's a lot of cases where the book is not better than the movie or TV show. The Summer I Turned Pretty. I do fear this is a case where the book is better. I'm just gonna go ahead and go through my list. They're not in any specific order because I wrote all of these down after I watched the movie because I wanted to sit on it a little bit. The first note that I have on here is from the very end of the movie when we see Strat again. I love the idea of Strat like going on the run. That is something that wasn't in the book. The book did not specify the Earth side of the ending. I will say I really liked that the movie did that, like a lot. That's something you have to read fan fiction for. It's something I knew that I was super curious about and I knew that I definitely wanted to see. And I like the concept that they went with of, I'm assuming that Strat went on the run because there's a conversation in the book where Grace and Strat are talking about what Strat's gonna do after Project Hail Mary has launched and everything Earthside is like said and done. And she was like, well, they're probably gonna put me in jail. Something along those lines because of abuse of power or like not having the proper jurisdiction or whatever. She was like, well, I'll probably be in jail for the rest of my life. And I think it's really interesting, the concept of her being on the run. The next thing that the movie did that I really liked was the introduction of Carl. I think it was important in the book for Grace to have a character like Steve, who is a very, very innocent, very, very, very small side character. He's a source of a lot of stability for Grace in the very beginning of the book. And I really like that they made him a more important character. I will say, I did not know Lionel Boyce was in this movie and I was so stoked to see him because The Bear is my favorite TV show, Marcus is my favorite character, and I love Odd Future. I am a teenage white girl. And having him play the character of Carl, who is essentially Steve, plays a pretty big role in the very first couple flashbacks. Okay, pretty much everything else I have is complaints. I still loved the movie. I still love the movie. I give it a 5 on Letterboxd, and I will give it a 5. It was still great, but I do have complaints. My first complaint. You saw it when I was watching the movie. I didn't know that this was a thing. I didn't know that everyone else was pissed about this. You're telling me you have a multi-million-dollar movie. I think it's like 24 million? Multi-million-dollar MGM movie. Multi-million-dollar MGM science fiction movie. And you're not gonna balance the centrifuge? I literally audibly went, what the fuck? So many scientists helped make this movie, and you're not balancing your centrifuge? My next few thoughts are all kind of together. I wish Grace wasn't such a chud, and I wish they made Grace smarter. I get that that is really hard to do from book to movie, but I will say, watching book to movie back to back, it is extremely noticeable. I get that you can't really have a character do super duper hard math in their head in a movie because it doesn't make sense because we, the audience, don't know what's happening. But it's like there's other ways you could make him seem smarter. You don't have to make him such a loser after he wakes up, and I think that's one of the things that bugged me is after he woke up in the movie, he was way more scared than he was in the book. He was way more weird than he was in the book. In the book, we talked about it in the book, it was muscle memory immediately took over, and for some reason he knew what he was doing. He understood that, and he wasted no time getting right to work even though he wasn't entirely sure what he was doing. I get why they did it for comedic effect. I just am scared that it's going to result in a lot of people not respecting the character of Dr. Ryland Grace as much as they should. And to go along with that, I feel like the movie underestimated his importance. And I get that they had to change, you know, part of how he came to be on the project, but I think it makes less sense the way they changed it in the movie. I think it makes more sense in the book. Another point that ties into this point, actually. I wish we saw how important Grace was to Strat without them having to make it an implied romance situation. Now, I'm a sucker for an implied romance. I'm a sucker for the romance genre. However, when romance is so not a part of the book, and so does not need to be a part of the plot at all, And then you make the alleged implied romantic interest Strat. It undermines the importance of Dr. Ryland Grace to the whole team. I really wish it was easier to tell in the movie that he really was, like, in charge. That did bother me because I was like, hey, put some respect on his name. Actually, back to the implied romance. I don't love it. Now, I don't love it because, again, a sci-fi about saving the world. There doesn't need to be a romance. There doesn't need to be a romance in every single movie, and I think we as a society should grow up. Hey, if you wanted a romance in that, grow up. Grow up, read something else. Hey, there was nothing wrong with liking the romance genre. There's nothing wrong with liking a little love story. But it doesn't need to be in everything. It doesn't need to be in everything, and I get it makes it a little more palatable to the general audience, and that's what you're going for as a big corporation, but I don't want to see it on my screen. Strat is not a woman to be fucked with. And the karaoke scene? Extremely unnecessary. Extremely unnecessary, and in fact, it pissed me off. And in fact, it made me not like movie Strat. She was too soft. I loved book Strat because that woman knew what she wanted and she was gonna get it, and that is awesome. She was a very strong female main character, and Ryland Grace understood that about her. And it's so important for our main character to be like, she's a badass bitch. She's in charge. Trust her, she knows what she's doing. To the audience, and the audience aren't getting that. Instead, they're seeing her in an implied romance and then singing Harry Styles on an aircraft carrier. Bring back women being bitches in movies. Okay, this made me so mad. I loved this about the book. I thought that this detail was something not many people would have noticed, but I for sure noticed. Teachers out there, anyone who works in childcare out there, you will understand what I'm saying with this. The middle schoolers, Ryland Grace in the book teaches 8th grade. The middle schoolers in the movie were a little too young. And I say this meaning, in the book, he wanted to tell them what he knew, and he wanted to tell them the truth. They responded well to it. In 8th grade, you're what, 13, 14? You can't treat them like they're babies. 13, 14-year-olds are gonna know what the end of the world is like. I thought that I loved this part about the book. The middle schoolers, his students, did not freak out when they were told that the world was gonna end. They did not care, which I think is such an important part of middle schooler identity, because I think that's so extremely accurate that they did not care. They could not have given less of a shit, and that is so important because this is the part of the book, the part of the movie, where Grace is starting to spiral a little bit. He's starting to be like, okay, I actually probably should do something about this, and it's really important that they're like, oh, well, like, how long do we have? Because they don't really care. And he's like, 30 years. And they're like, 30 years? Nothing. That's really, really important because A, extremely middle school accurate, and B, helps us understand that Ryland doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be helping. But he's gonna do it because he has the opportunity. And because he is seeing that these children don't care, and he's like, oh, they probably should. One thing I would have loved to see, the sleeping bit. More of the sleeping bit. I think that whole Rocky and Grace watching each other sleep bit is really, really funny in the book. One thing I was really looking forward to seeing in the movie was I Commend You to the Stars. I was really bummed that that wasn't in the lines in that scene. I don't know. I don't know why I was so upset. I think I Commend You to the Stars is such, like, a beautiful thing to say. Grace doesn't know these people as of this moment and still respects them because, again, he's a fundamentally good person. His whole character and kind of the whole plot of the book and movie is he is a good guy. And I think I Commend You to the Stars is very beautiful, and I also just think it would have been really nice to hear Ryan Gosling say that. So, blip it. Does not look anything like I wanted it to. It did not look anything like that in my head. It looked like the SR-71 Blackbird. like the way it was described as very flat and very sleek and very dark. I was like, oh, that's the Blackbird. I do not condone Lockheed Martin, but they made a sick-ass plane. The Two of Us needle drop made me sob like a baby. I love the Beatles. The Beatles are one of my favorite bands, and I love that the Beatles as a band was such a big part of both the book and the movie. Personally, that is not the song that I thought they were. I knew they were, in my soul, I knew they were gonna put a Beatles song in the movie. I just didn't expect it to be Two of Us. Hey, really good choice. There's no way for me to talk about this without kind of sounding like the woker or some sort of crazy conspiracy theorist. I'm just a history major and a poli-sci minor. One of my favorite parts about the book was the fact that everyone worked together. All of the countries put aside their hatred for each other and worked together. More specifically, countries like China and Russia and the US. All of these countries who are not considered to be our allies, working with the US and US agencies to save humanity. Love. And that was a message that the book was trying very hard to portray, and I think no doubt that the book was very much like, hey, world peace, guys. Hey, let's lock in. Something that most people, when they read the book, love about the book, because that's such an interesting dynamic and an interesting thing to see, especially as an American, seeing the UN actually do its job. That's interesting. It's interesting to see that play out so well in a book. That being said, in the book, it is specified that the EVA suits are top of the line spacesuits. They're Russian made. I think they're the Orlan suits. They're supposed to be the best of the best, and there's multiple things throughout the book that are mentioned to be made the best by China, made the best by Russia, whatever. This is the first thing I noticed. The Roscosmos are something I don't know a lot about. I don't know a lot about space. One of the first things I noticed the first time EVA suits are introduced in the movie is that they are plastered in the NASA logo. I immediately went, oh, everything is plastered in the NASA logo. And in the Lord's year 2026, I should not have been surprised to see what is, in essence, propaganda. There's no way for me to say this without sounding like the woker. So, what are supposed to be these top-of-the-line EVA suits, top-of-the-line space gadgets and gear that I know nothing about, that are all, made by Russia, made by China. Some of them are made by the US, but they're all made by NASA in the movie. You know why? Because Russia and China are, if you're American, they're Russia and China. Interesting way to go about that, MGM. Interesting. I understand that, there's genuinely, I think, 2 pages dedicated to talking about how great these EVA suits are, how great this equipment is, made by Russia and China. And you're gonna plaster the NASA logo all over it. In the movie, you know who's gonna take credit for it? NASA. You know who's gonna take credit for it? The US. Does no one else think that's as, suspicious or interesting as I do? I noticed that immediately. It's extremely telling about just, the time this movie was made. I think it was filmed in 2024, 2025? I don't want to say his name. We're all thinking the same thing. We're all thinking the same thing, right? This is propaganda. Was it really good? Yes. But I couldn't help but see that, hey, you kinda turned it into propaganda. Hey, NASA, brilliant. NASA, fantastic. We have a lot of really great things, and the US is good at a lot of things. You know what they're not good at? Sharing. You know what the US isn't good at? Sharing. I have nothing else to say about that, other than, I'm gonna say the book was better, strictly because I like detail. But if you don't like detail, or you don't care about detail, and you just want to watch a super cute little feel-good movie about space, feel-good sci-fi, go watch Project Hail Mary. And if you're not a big movie guy, or you don't really care about any of that, go read Project Hail Mary. Okay. that is all I have to say about Project Hail Mary. I recommend it to everyone. I think it's fantastic, and it is going to go down as a modern classic, and I think the movie is too. And hey, that makes me so darn happy. Thank y'all for watching, thank y'all for listening to my opinions, and be suspicious of your government. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.